Ann Widdecombe, do you think with Hunt, who is, let's be honest, seemingly running the show at the moment, wanting to take us back into the single market at least, that there might be a need for the Brexit Party again?
Well, if that was really what he wanted to do, then I would say yes, unhesitatingly. But I think what we've got to ask ourselves is, what was that leak about Swiss-style arrangements all about? And I think they were flying a kite. And they wanted to see if Britain was so oppressed by the current economic mess, which is nearly all due to COVID and Ukraine, not to Brexit, whether Britain was so oppressed by that that they were willing to consider new relations with the EU, which would actually mean accepting EU law. Now, that is what I think they were about. They got a very, very fierce reaction. The mere threat of reconstituting the Brexit Party, I think, would send tremors through them, because even if they thought we weren't going to win a single seat, they know that we could do them an awful lot of damage. But just look at the facts. That budget that Hunt produced was very, very anti-Brexit to this extent. But what we should be doing as a result of Brexit is attracting investors into Britain, competing with the EU, abolishing all the regulations that they inflicted on us, actually making full use of freedom. We haven't done any of that. And what Hunt actually did was to turn us into a high-tax economy that nobody, frankly, would want to come over here and invest in and live in, because everything just goes back in tax. I mean, if you take the obvious one, they did maintain the abolition of the cap on bankers' bonuses. What use is that if you're going to tax said bonus into the ground? You know,
I know.
Absolutely.
But Anne, this is why it's such a concern, though, because I haven't forgotten what Hunt said after the biggest democratic mandate in British history. He said we should consider a second referendum, and then he said we should consider a Norway Plus deal that would have tied us entirely to the EU and stopped any form of Brexit freedom. He hasn't even properly denied, Anne, that he wasn't behind the Sunday Times story at the weekend. So I don't trust the guy as far as I can throw him.
Well, it may have been him, it may have been his civil servants, it may have been his political aides, but that leak came from somewhere. It didn't descend from the heavens. It came from Whitehall somewhere, and it had a purpose, as I say. And
well, I think
any
it came
relationship
from him,
with the
Anne.
EU, which means taking their law, any relationship that means taking their law, any relationship which means that we accept intervention from the ECJ, and one of the purposes of Brexit was to get rid of the European Court of Justice, any of those, totally unacceptable.